Hello, hello. Welcome back to Happiness by Habit. I'm so excited today. I have a very special guest, Larry Farmer. He wrote many books. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
10.
10 books. You made it books. I'm so excited to have him right here today with us to talk about his journey and his books. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Thank
Hi. Tell us about your story. What brought you to write books?
When I was young, I had artistic inclination right off. And then in elementary school, the teachers would have us write stories. Mine would always be the one that got read to the class.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's nice and it does make an imprint. But the point is, I already had an inclination and a desire, and it just kind of egged it along.
Right.
And then later on, even in college, I took a creative writing course, and my prof would brag about, things like that. They encourage you. I'm putting it that way. They encourage you. So any desire I had, inclination I had, got like, maybe it's realistic.
Yeah.
We'll see. And so later, after I backpacked around the world, I was in the Marine Corps back in Vietnam. And then I came home to the war at home, where my generation hated people like me for being in the Marines, things like that. I mean, and part of it was too, it just made me more defiant, and I ended up backpacking around the world, adventure and just looking for your head and all this. And I went through 42 different countries.
Wow.
And then when I came home and got a job and settled down, I joined a writers club, the Brazos Valley Writers Club out of Texas A&M, and joined critique groups, and you write. And then finally I decided, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And luckily I got published real fast.
Oh, wow.
And that inspires you. And I write basically what I know about adventures I've been on and ideas I had, and also having been a Vietnam era Marine, I mention things like that. So I have some tidbits in there.
Oh, I love it because I'm sure you have so many stories to tell.
I have a lot, and I have another one coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
What is your favorite book?
It's hard to say.
I know
It's hard to say.
so many.
Possibly this one, A World Without Love.
Okay.
If anybody out there knows that title, you can't copyright titles. So I stole this from the Beatles. Paul McCartney wrote a song called A World Without Love, and Peter and Gordon sang it, and it just seemed to apply to the story inside. So I took it. And I hope Paul McCartney notices and says, "Hey, you stole my," but he'll never.
My goodness.
Anyway, this is a haunted house, and I used to live in Switzerland, and we did get American TV. And one day I was watching The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, and Shelley Fabre, the daughter of the Donna Reed show, was the guest star, and she ended up with a crush on the ghost. And that was so corny, but it was so well done. It charmed me to death. And I thought, and all these ideas formed. 25 years later, this came out of me. And the main character is a Marine from Vietnam era, in this case, Louisiana. If you think of a haunted house, everybody thinks of Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana.
So I did Louisiana up near Shreveport, Spring Hill. And in this case, has a little bit of reincarnation in here. They had been lovers in previous lives, and even a brother or sister in previous life. It's just like their lives were intertwined.
Interesting.
And here they come back. And then in 1973, they got married. And then within a week, she was murdered. And the guy, based loosely on me, but I mean, just to have a reference point, he was so distraught, he ended up committing suicide. And he is the one haunting this house.
Wow.
40 years later, a girl shows up that looks exactly like the murdered girl. This house is haunted, so they buy it and then sell it, give it away almost. And it's selling cheap. And she's from Kansas City, moving here. Hey, what a steal. I'll buy that. Little did she was told it's haunted, but who believes that stuff? Turns out it's really haunted. And it turns out she had a mission that she did not know about, to come rescue him, because this tortured soul stuck in this house that he's haunting. And she came to reconcile him and bring him back to sanity, you might say. So that came out of The Ghost of Mrs. Muir. You asked me how the hell that happened.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
It was fun to write.
What are you working on now?
Right now, man, I hate to say this, I got arrested. I got arrested in 1979 in Tucson, Arizona for murder. I really did.
You really did get arrested. You didn't really
I
get
didn't really,
murdered.
didn't really get, but all of a sudden the cops come. I was hitchhiking. I was still backpacking around the world and I was making my last leg, landed in LA, and I'm hitchhiking back to Texas to try to finally settle down. And then Tucson, Arizona, I stopped and ate at a restaurant, ate some tacos, and there was this waitress there. And I put a quarter in the jukebox and played a song. And we chatted a little bit, kind of flirted a tad. And then I went on my way. And I'm telling you, all of a sudden I see these cop cars coming, and I think maybe they're worried about me. They weren't worried about me. They were worried about me being a bad guy. Somebody that looked like me had murdered somebody earlier. Oh my gosh. Near that restaurant. What? And so they stopped, read me my Miranda rights, and arrested me for murder. And they're taking me back to Tucson, and I'm confused about it all. And in the process, I asked, "What's this all about?" And they saw that I wasn't acting, but still, I could be lying. And so they explained it, and I thought, "I'm being arrested for murder?" And they said, "Yes, we're taking you to the precinct now." Then they said, "Would you happen to have an alibi?" And they told me the time of the murder. I said, "I was at a restaurant and there's waitress here would remember me." And she did. So they let me off. Oh my gosh. And I made a love story out of that. Oh, did that really happen? The love story part, or you just made it up? No, I want to say what I did in reality. I thought I just got off. There's a murderer out there that looks like me. I'm getting the hell out. And so that was a wise idea. I flew home. That was in real life, but don't tell anybody. No. I made a love story. I made a love story out of it. That story is much better than the real one. That's awesome. Which book is that? It's not in here. It's coming. It's coming out soon. That's a very same publisher. Same. Oh, very nice. The Wild Rose Press out of Adam, New York, is my publisher. Oh, that's a good one. And this is a series 39. What is this about? Now there is Vincent van Gogh had a painting called Starry Night. One of the most famous. Beautiful. Yes. One of the most famous paintings in the world. Right. And Don McLean, singer-songwriter, loved it and loved the story of Van Gogh and made a song called Vincent. And it starts off, "Story, Story Night." And so I took that. You can't copyright a title. So I took that, and that's the title of my book. So I see a lot of musical influence on your books. I used to be a country singer in Switzerland. What? That is did. I had my country band. And traditional. In Switzerland. In Switzerland. Wow. I had a country band, traditional. I was the singer, and we got a lot of radio time and all that. I kind of musically inclined. I was in the Texas Aggie band, and I write music also. And so with all that, I do include, it's kind of, publishers don't like you to talk about music too much because everybody wants to put in lyrics, but they allow you to mention or reference. So meaning don't overdo it. I will be a singer in some or an amateur strumming a guitar, but as long as I don't put in lyrics or anything like that. And so I do include some just to give it a reference point, but not to dwell. People get bored easy with that stuff. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a really cool book to look after. When is that expected to come out? Well, it's still being edited by my editor. Okay, so coming soon. Yes, coming soon. All and right. It will be Take My Hand for a While. I stole another title. And this state, Buffy St. Marie wrote a beautiful, heartbreaking song, Lost Love, and that's my title. That's a good one, actually. That's a catchy title. And that'll be the song the guy that gets arrested for murder plays on the jukebox that she remembers. Oh, yes, I did that. That's like so I use that. Touch. I use that for the title. And we do fall in love, this waitress and me. Yes, that's a nice one. Nice story. I wonder what would have happened if you reached back to that waitress. Maybe she might be out there. I do hope they catch on and somebody makes a movie or something. So they, I met a guy back then. But if you remember her name, you can totally find her. I had to make it up. Oh man, well, but that's a really cool. Gave her the name of a friend of mine because I was just talking about it. And she said, "You got to write a novel about that." And nah. And she pushed me. So I named the waitress after her.
Oh, that's a nice
And she's
idea.
waiting on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So are we. Let's wait. Let's look after that beautiful book coming out soon. Where can people find your books?
Well, the Wild Rose Press out of Adam, New York is my publisher, and they sell. And Larry Farmer writes. Dad, I'm not that I business cards here, but one word, Larry Farmer writes, all small, FRITESETES.com. LarryFarmerWrites.com is my webpage, and all the links to get it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Kobo, and my publisher are there.
Wonderful.
And so, and while we're on it, this one I have a bit of pride in. I was in the Peace Corps back in the in the Philippines, and there was a dictatorship of 20 years then, Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos. And while I was there was communist insurrection, Muslim insurrection, Cold War, and a revolution that overthrew the dictatorship, and a love story. How do you not write a novel when you live stuff like that? I was in the barrio trying to save the world, and all this stuff's going on around me. Right? I mean, Peace Corps doesn't make money. You live like in the barrio. You're riding on a bus just like everybody else, and there's ready to be a revolution. Everybody knows there's insurrection, so military police stops every few miles to check everybody's ID, et cetera, et cetera. And now and then some buck is kidnapped, fired upon, all that just normal daily life. And then one day the revolution happened, and I was there for all that. And I thought, I'm the only one that wrote a novel about it. This is in the Peace Corps Library in Washington, D.C.
Interesting.
So it's got some historical
I love it.
note to it. But
Very.
this is what I do. I don't have to make up much.
Oh my God, and all stories are really fascinating. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Very good. Thank you so much for your wisdom and for sharing your amazing stories with the
Well,
world.
you're good to interview.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm sure our audience is so happy and looking forward to get your new latest and greatest book. Well, take my hand for a while.
And it'll be on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Okay, very
Larry
good.
Farmer.
Larry Farmer. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Farmer in the Dell. Remember Farmer in the Dell. Larry
Oh,
Farmer.
that's right. Remember that. Well, thank you so much for
Well,
your
thank
time.
you
Larry.
very much.
All right. Bye bye.